Chairman Liss, and the name of the program is The Way to Go. I invite you to join me each week at this time as we explore places to go and things to do. You may hear in the background a little music from a music box, and you'll know why you're hearing that sound in a few moments. The subject of today's program is an exhibit at the Hudson River Museum called Why Collect? And with us today are Laura Vookles, who is the curator of collections at the Hudson River Museum, and Dr. Leonard Shulman, who is a collector and one of the people whose exhibit is at the museum. So the question today is really what the question which is posed by the name of the exhibit. Why do people collect?
Well, I think the basic premise of the exhibit was not so much why collect, but that almost everyone collects something. And but what we thought was different people collect for different reasons, and that's why we profiled a number of individuals and institutions in the exhibit.
Laura, what does the exhibit consist of?
The exhibit consists of 5 sections. The museum's own collections, the collections of the SIBA Corporation, of Dr. Shulman, of artist Philip Pearlstein, and student Aaron McGill.
And they're different, really.
Oh, yes, very different.
Well, since we're going to speaking with Dr. Shulman, and we're going to see some of the things that he brought along today, why don't we talk about the other collectors first? What is actually in the exhibit, in each of them?
Well, for example, Philip Pearlstein is a well-known artist who became fairly well-known starting in the 1960s for his figural works, mostly nudes. And we thought that an artist would be a very special kind of person that might be a collector. And in fact, Pearlstein started collecting when he had a Fulbright Fellowship in Rome, and he became attracted to the antiquities that were available there at very reasonable prices, and those were the first things he collected. Whereas today he collects a lot of folk art, and some of it he actually uses in the backgrounds of his paintings.
Mm-hmm. And some of the others?
Well, Aaron McGill is a student at the Museum Junior High School, and we have a magnet program with them, and she collects trolls, which is a very popular collecting subject matter with young children. Well, she's not that young. She's in 7th grade, and she has over 100 of them,
really?
And there are about 40 of them on display, all different sizes and types. And the museum's own collections, which cover a 75-year history. This year is our 75th anniversary. And what I wanted to show in that section was how the museum, it has its own personality, but it has changed over the years as the world around it changed, its own community changed, the people involved with it changed. And you get a little sense of that in the exhibit, as well as why a museum would collect as opposed to an individual. Our collections are held in the public trust. They really belong to our audience, not to us.
And the fourth?
SIBA. Okay. The SIBA Corporation is nearby in Ardsley, and a lot of corporations collect. There would have been a lot to pick from, even in Westchester, but the museum has a very close relationship with SIBA, and their collection seems special to us because of the effort they've made to have the collection exist for all of their employees. Any employee could have art in their office. They can make an appointment to come and look at the art and choose something for their office, and Marcus Lowe, the curator, will work with them. And it just seemed like a really democratic approach, and their goal was to beautify their environment for their workers.
For their workers and for visitors, too.
Right.
Yeah. And we don't have to let you talk about the 5th collector because he's with us today. Since we started with the music, Dr. Shulman, why don't we just talk about this part of your collection that is here? What exactly is this?
Well, this is an old Victorian rag doll, plush doll, but primarily it's a music box. And the tune is a nostalgic waltz. I defy anybody to give me the name of it. I certainly don't know, but it's whimsical, and it pleases me.
Well, your collection, to say the least, is eclectic. How do you define, what do you collect? Or maybe it's easy to say, what don't you collect?
No, it's easier to say what I do collect because I collect everything. So therefore, there is nothing that I don't collect.
What do you mean by I collect everything, and what makes a collection?
Well, a collection would be based on a number of pieces, but I collect because I find things intriguing and fascinating. If things have certain merit in my eye, I wish to collect those objects.
Now, how do you start? What you have and you brought along today, and we're going to look at many of the things or samples of so many of the things that you have. But how do you just start in a direction? How do you say, well, today I'm going to collect dolls, for example?
Well, I let the market dictate that. When I'm out in the field at a garage sale or a tag sale,
You frequent them, I assume?
yeah, and I see something that I don't have, and again, if it intrigues me, if it appeals to my aesthetic senses, if I like the design, the color, the function of it, if it's different, I'll start to collect it, even if I don't know what it is.
How many objects do you have?
I might have over 4,000 objects, but to be fair, a few hundred of those are marbles.
Now, they're in your home.
Yes.
And do they have a particular place? How do you display them?
Well, they are displayed in keeping with my idea of what a turn-of-the-century Victorian house would look like, and that would be very corded. So in this case, it's an asset for me to clutter my house as much as possible. That's what it looks like.
But you don't consider it to be
House.
cluttered?
No, I consider it to be representative of any normal Victorian house.
Why don't we put the doll aside and bring up another object that you might want to show us to demonstrate the variety of your collection? Pick anything you like from the array that you brought along today.
This is just a little whimsy.
Let's show it to the camera, so we'll put everything right down here where they can see it.
Okay, this is a little whimsy. It's shaped like a shoe. I guess I was attracted to it because I'm a foot doctor, and that was one of the first little objects I collected.
What is it?
Well, I'll tell you in a minute. It says on the back, an old shoe for luck. And this side of it is a representation of a shoe. It's really a little box. It opens up, and it's a little change purse.
Huh.
I guess for dimes, nickels, maybe quarters, and nickels.
Looks like the gadget in my car.
Yeah.
So there's nothing new, actually. How far back does this go, do you know?
I would probably estimate it to be maybe 80 years old.
Let's show something else, something a little different, maybe a little larger.
All right. This is a thermometer, and it has a little Indian sitting on top. Feathers are broken, but it's typical of the 20s.
Now, do you have a lot of?
And it works.
Do you have a lot of thermometers in your
Yes,
collection?
I do.
So that's one of the areas of.
Yeah. In fact, every object that I have here is just part of a collection, a special collection.
So in each grouping, what determines a collection for you? How many do you have to have to
Well, a
consider?
minimum of 10.
10 objects.
Yeah.
And some of them you have more than 10.
Yeah, and if it's 8, I still consider it a collection.
And do you have more than 10 of
Oh,
anything?
yes.
Hundreds.
Hundreds
Yeah.
of an individual.
In some areas, yes.
Now here's a question. Now, your collection is primarily for your pleasure, enjoyment, and a lot of things that you get out of it. The collection at the museum, on the other hand, is for public
That's true.
to enjoy. Although many of the things that you have are not on display.
That's true. A lot of things are in our storage areas. but we do try to organize exhibits where things that aren't normally on view can be featured. A number of objects in this exhibit haven't been on view for years, especially
like the buffalo head.
Like the buffalo head and the minerals, which were the very first collections that the museum had. It was in City Hall, and minerals were the first thing that were on view there.
And from time to time, does it go on public display, or has it ever been on public display?
The minerals?
No, the buffalo head.
Oh, the buffalo head. The buffalo head was on view a few years ago when we had an exhibit on billiard rooms. It seemed like the perfect object to set up the ambiance that we needed there. But otherwise, it's very rarely on view. We keep it because it's an example of the early collections of the museum, and it's important to preserve that history, even though the museum has shifted its focus a little bit since then.
And the high wheel bicycle fits into that category.
That has, and it was actually on display fairly recently in an exhibit at the Scarsdale Historical Society.
Now, not only do you have things in the museum, but the museum itself has certain parts of it that are part of your collection, like the Red Groom's bookstore, for example, gift shop.
That's true. Those were commissioned in the late 1970s, and the museum didn't have a lot of space to display contemporary art, and yet the director was very interested in contemporary art, and the idea was that they could make art a part of the building in some areas that weren't normally used for display. And not only did they create the bookstore, which was an artwork that was meant to function, but also they had Dan Flavin install fluorescent light sculpture in the breezeway and also in the area where we have a skylight above our well.
But there's something else, because the museum started as just the Glenview Mansion, and that in itself is part of a collection. The mansion
That's
itself
true.
and its
That's
content.
a trick question. When people ask me what's our most important collection object, I always say the Glenview Mansion. It's very big, and not all of it is on view to the public, but it was designed in 1876 in the country's centennial year, and it's a very important collection object for us. And it was the first home of the museum starting in 1924.
And within the mansion itself, you do have some rooms which reproduce that period, and then some are turned over for exhibits which change.
Right. We have our four period rooms: the Great Hall, the Ebony Library, Mrs. Trevor's sitting room, and the dining room, which has just undergone a major reinstallation in the past couple of years, with a dining room table on view from the Metropolitan Museum. And we also have our Glenview galleries, where we try to schedule exhibits that will further interpret the period in which the mansion was lived.
The coming to the museum is an experience, and I do want to just say that my guests today are here in connection with the exhibit Why Collect, which is at the Hudson River Museum, and they are Laura Vookles, who is the curator of collections, and Dr. Leonard Shulman, who is a collector and who has quite a few of his objects on exhibit at the museum. Why don't we look at something else from your collection, Dr.
Fine.
Shulman?
This is a 1930s toy made by Baldwin Company in Brooklyn, and it's not tin. This is pressed steel, and it uses little marbles, and it cackles and kind of lays eggs. And I like to play with it.
Now, do you collect toys?
Yes, I do.
And I have interviewed some people on game boards. I know people who collect toys. Is that a highly specialized field?
Very highly specialized and very popular.
Well, now, popular brings up the subject. There's a certain value. Do you collect for love, or do you collect for value?
Both. If I see two objects and one is potentially valuable and they're both in the same category, I would tend to choose the one which has more value, even though the other might be on the same par aesthetically.
But the subject of value intrigues me. When you go to a flea market or when you go to a garage sale and people realize that you're a serious collector, doesn't that increase the prices? Does knowledge of who you are, like a restaurant critic always goes in
Absolutely.
incognito?
That's why I go in disguise every time.
What do you mean by disguise?
Well, I may grow sideburns or put on dark glasses or put on some outfit that would make me look less than reputable.
And you don't dress too distinguished.
That's right.
I'm afraid we're blowing your cover by putting your face on
Not
television
really.
today.
Not really.
Is there more to collecting than just objects and value? Is there something that you associate with the objects?
Well, it fulfills a spiritual need for me. I view myself as a keeper of objects. Laura mentioned before that the museum was different than the personal collector in that it was more for the public domain. And I see myself in that respect to a degree. What I have, I don't really feel I own. I feel I'm taking care of it for the present. Many of these things perish easily. And to preserve something through one's lifetime is really doing a service to the next generation. And I hope that sometime in the future, when I'm not around anymore, whatever I possess now will fall into the hands of people who feel like I do.
Do you ever feel that you wonder what the story behind this particular object is as you pick it up?
Always.
Do you draw pictures in your mind?
Always. That's part of the intrigue that the object holds for me.
I know someone who will sit in a public place and see people go by and just make up a little story about that person, even though that they're just someone who's passing by in an airplane terminal, do you have that feeling that you're fantasizing about that?
Yes.
Well, fantasize with another object for us. Would you bring something else up?
Okay, sure.
One thing that we can be sure, that we sure seen variety, aren't we?
Yes.
This weird thing is a bronze brass. I'm sorry.
Let's leave
inkwell.
It's an inkwell. What's it in the shape of?
Well, I don't really know. It looks
I'm trying to figure it out
some
myself.
Japanese object, but the
Like a
most I
log,
can
maybe.
figure out that it was designed this way to kind of hold a pen. Oop.
Does it rock? Oh,
No, it doesn't. It's not supposed to rock. It's supposed to balance.
stabilize. Huh?
Yeah, it's supposed to balance, and the pen fits in there like that. And this little top, holds the ink.
Oh, the ink is in there.
Yeah, there probably should be a little glass filler, which is missing. But the whole thing was interesting. And when I got it, I didn't know what it was because this part of it...
That didn't stop you, though.
No, it didn't stop me. It didn't stop me, but I finally figured out that that's what it is. Maybe it's not, but that's what I think it is anyway.
Now, so tell us about the person who you fantasized owned this thing. Where did you get it, by the way?
I got this at a garage sale. Person running the sale was a professional and really didn't know what it was because it looked at the time something like this. They thought it was a hanging bird cage, something like that.
But you figured out that...
I fantasized, well, I didn't fantasize, but I pictured a turn of the century lady or gentleman possessing this. Inkwells were always a mark of distinction. The common person would just simply dip his pen in an ink bottle. But somebody on a little higher caliber owned inkwells. And
That was before the days of fountain pens and ballpoint pens.
Yes. And researching the particular shape and material, I found that this was Japanese, probably made for export in maybe the 20s or the 30s.
Now, what category does this fit into when you say you have no fewer than 10 in any category? What category?
This is a brand new category.
And what is that category? Inkwells?
Inkwells. I have about 3, so I really can't say that's a collection yet. And this was a very recent acquisition.
How does one get started? What started you off as a collector?
Well, I think being around my parents were collectors, and we lived near the Brooklyn Museum, and that was like my playground. While all of the kids were out in the street playing stickball, I would go to the museum, and I was just taken aback by the beauty of objects there. So it was always in the back of my head. Actually, I started collecting when I accompanied my parents to different stores, shops, and they would always buy something, and I would look, and I guess this was in the early 60s.
That's the trigger that started you on.
That triggered. I said, let me buy something, and that was
it. Did it just grow
and roll? Yeah.
And soon you couldn't stem the tide anymore. Because it keeps going and going and going. Obviously, you love it.
Well, it doesn't control me. It's something I love to do, as you say. It's a pleasure.
There's no limit to where you can go. There's no limit to where you can go because you're always looking, as certainly as this object proves, you're always looking for new things.
That's right. There are things that I collect now that I never dreamed that I would collect 5 years ago.
Talk about some of the artist things that you have in your perspective.
The artist things,
or are they all in that category?
Well, I like whimsical things, novel things. I don't think I have any one object that I would consider artist. No.
Well, what about the Tiffany tile you brought, though?
The Tiffany tile? Well, that's not odd. That's just a very beautiful.
Let's talk about that.
Very beautiful, colorful tile. It's a Tiffany tile, and it was probably used in fireplaces. Would you say so, Laura? Maybe tabletops.
A tile made by Tiffany.
Yes.
Yes. I'm not familiar with this at all. Are they rare?
Well, I don't know if they're rare, but they're expensive.
They are expensive.
Yeah.
What makes them expensive? What makes an object expensive?
Well, the scarcity of the object, the aesthetic value of the object, and the intrinsic value of an object.
What would
Public demand.
Public demand,
Yeah.
What would you say is the best way for someone to start collecting? Just find something they love and buy one?
Well, it would have to satisfy their own personal reasons, whatever those reasons, might be.
Do you think that it's better to specialize or to be as wide roaming as you are?
Let yourself open on this subject. Don't limit yourself. No. If you see something and you like it, it's for you.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes people realize they're a collector after they've already been one for a while. Suddenly, they just have more than 10 things, more than 20 things, whatever, and they realize that they've been collecting. I think that's how it was with Erin McGill, the student in the exhibit. She saw a troll one day in a window and bought it. Birthdays, Christmases rolled around. Pretty soon she had a collection.
We want to tell people how they can get more information about the exhibit at the Hudson River Museum. Laura, what's the number that people should call for more information?
963-4550.
And that's 914, of course.
Of course.
And let's repeat that.
963-4550, area code 914.
And we'll put that up in the closing credits in case somebody wants to write that down. I want to get back to you brought so many things today that we, of course, can't get to cover them all. Where is it all going to end? I mean, are you going to buy another house if this keeps going on and on and on?
No, I don't think I buy another house. As it goes on, I guess I become more selective. And I trade
You do
or
trade.
dispose of in some way objects that I find I'm losing my fondness for and replace them with new
Do you
objects.
know them all?
I know. Do I know?
Every object that you have? Have you lost
No,
track?
there are some that I've forgotten about.
How do you keep track of them? We know that a museum computerizes what they are, when they were acquired, background on them, who they were acquired from,
Where they are.
where they are. What do you do to keep track of yours?
Oh, I have an old ledger that I began in the 60s. Pages are filthy with finger marks from thumbing through them, and everything is written out by hand, where I acquired it, how much I paid for it, a description of it.
And so you could actually find anything.
It
Because
would take me a while to locate any particular object in a ledger, but it's possible.
What's the new direction? What aside from inkwells, what else are you contemplating going into?
Well, there's something called, well, what is it called? It's called head vases.
I don't know what
Head
that means.
vases were nondescript vases sold by florists. I did not bring one because I only have one, and they're really nothing, but they're colorful. They have no intrinsic value, but they're
It's a vase for
colorful.
flowers, but why is it called a head vase?
Because the representation are women's faces.
And what got you started?
I saw one in the Salvation Army, and I didn't know really what it was. And then after I bought it, I researched it. I found out that this is something that people collect, so I'll keep my eyes open for them.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining me today and talking about collections and why people collect, and your collection, and your collection, the museum's collection. And this has been an intriguing visit, and I thank you both for being here today. Today we've been discussing the exhibit, Why Collect, which is at the Hudson River Museum. We've only shown you a portion of it today. Go see it. You'll really enjoy it. I'm Norman Liss. The name of the program is The Way to Go. Till next week at this time, enjoy yourself.